Hello, welcome everyone. I realize this is late in the day and I appreciate you showing up regardless. Some of you are here because you feel pressured, you know me and you want to do me a favor, or the opposite, you want to tease me by being here and making fun of me. Either way, it's appreciated. You could, as Jay-Z says, you couldn't be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, thank you very much. Today we're talking about a click is not a click. And I think the next sentence is much easier said than done in today's environment, where there's just different incentives at play out there to make the job of a marketer extremely difficult. And what we're going to do today is hopefully educate you on some of the developments that have led to this phenomenon, what we think we will be doing about it, and give you actionable insights to hopefully for you to be the thought leader within your organization, drive change, and make sure that you actually deliver value to your stakeholders as you're trying to allocate your marketing budgets, which has become increasingly difficult. Okay, so briefly about myself. I'm Ben. I've been in this industry, app performance marketing space for more than 10 years now. I started off in a company called Fiverr. It was SponsorPay. Now it's part of Digital Turbine. Hello. And later I spent almost 7 years at AppsFlyer, which is a leading MMP. And finally I ended up at Moloco, which, in case you don't know us, in this context, Moloco is a user acquisition performance, app performance DSP. And what we do is we help app businesses grow by finding users in a profitable way. And before joining Moloco, I knew, I've been in the space for a while, and I've seen really good behavior and bad behavior, and adding value to the ecosystem was something that I felt proud of when I was at AppsFlyer. And it was really important to me to ensure that the company that I joined next does the same. And I'm pleased that a year in, I still feel that way about Moloco. Just some of the numbers that I think they seem a bit show-offy, but I think the idea is to say, okay, if we are a performance-only business, then we can only grow in this way if we deliver value to our users, and that's why we feel we have earned the right to have an opinion on this topic and talk about it today here with you. And then we have some external validation from others, which is always nice. But enough about us, and more importantly about what we're actually here to talk about. And I think you're all familiar with some of these problems when it comes to just poor ads quality. And this problem is so pervasive that it has been picked up by mainstream media such as New York Times and Wall Street Journal, and I particularly like that meme over there, which just shows how difficult it has become, or at times it is, to exit an ad. And what I think is important to see is that there's several powers at play. So initially, what we have is misleading ad creatives. I'm afraid I can't show you the the videos here because this is a PDF, and we didn't manage to embed videos. But I believe everyone has experienced an impossible to click X button that magically shrinks or disappears or moves and so on. So that's just one phenomenon that we've seen over the past years. And then something that is particularly frustrating, at least when I'm handing a game to one of my kids and they're trying to play the game, and I see them struggle to actually play the game because they're stuck in this endless loop of advertising, end cards, exiting, pressing done, then a pop-up, then and so on. So it's I think as users and end users, we've experienced these type of creatives, I would say. And then there's App Store rendering. So when you think about probabilistic attribution or MMP attributed installs, you will find that when it comes to iOS, there have been some very decent UX improvements made on the ads format side. So SK Overlay is one, and AutoStore is another. That's a store kit, Apple store kit designed ad units. And what happens is on SK Overlay, you have a small pop-up at the bottom, like a banner ad. And AutoStore is essentially an interstitial full-screen ad. And the challenge for the MMP measurement side is that any interaction with those ad units aren't registered outside of SK Ad Network. So what's become common practice is that every time any of these ad creatives are being rendered on iOS, in the background, clicks are being fired to ensure that you can actually measure this in your MMP. And that means that actually understanding what was user intent versus what is unavoidable clicks or clicks that are being fired in the background is something that has become increasingly difficult and making marketers' job of allocating budgets ever more challenging. Now, when we look at the history of this, we spoke about, I showed you some of these creatives, nicely, marketing team nicely called it the fat thumb era. From 2017 up until 2021. And I don't, so we see CTRs, click-through rates, steadily increasing. And I don't want to say everything is due to misleading creatives. That's definitely played a role here, but obviously also marketers are getting better and improving. And so there's an element of just click-through rates genuinely increasing because the creatives are getting better, and then there's also these misleading creatives that are leading to it. And then with the release of iOS 14.5 and the ATT, the App Tracking Transparency Framework being enforced, we have click-through rates shooting up through the roof, and for the reason that I just described, because marketers wanted to ensure that they can still measure on the MMP side. And that's why we call this a click is not necessarily a click, just in case anyone was wondering where this title comes from. Now, this is bad for everyone in the ecosystem. And So we spoke about users, I spoke about my kids, how they struggle to actually experience a game that they want to play because they get stuck in endless loops. I think for publishers, there is revenue, which is the positive, but in my mind, it comes at the expense of user retention and ratings, as we see, because users who want to play your game and can't do it struggle. So it is somewhat short-sighted. And then lastly, for marketers, yes, you will see numbers look great, but actually you are investing and allocating your dollars in a way that is potentially suboptimal. So if it's bad for everyone, how come this is happening? That just seems counterintuitive. And I think the problem is that we have just incentives of various stakeholders that are forcing this kind of behavior, and it's a game theory approach where the race to the bottom is inevitable in order to survive in this ecosystem. And so for advertisers, they want to, or ad networks, they want to increase the credit that they've been allocated. Exchanges need to ensure that revenue goes up. And publishers, as we just mentioned earlier, also are addicted to the revenue that has been is driven by these ad creatives. And that is what is underpinning this movement. Now, it's all doom and gloom, and not the most uplifting. Is it Monday? Yeah, not the most uplifting Monday afternoon that you thought you would spend with me today. But there is some hope. So we want to share briefly how we think about this, what we do about it, and then how you can take action within your organization. So for us, I think our philosophy when it comes to how we want to build our products, it's about visibility and transparency. We want to make sure that every single impression, every single piece of measurement is available to our partners. And we want to give advertisers control and choice of how the ads are rendered, when a click is being fired, and so on, so that they can ensure parity across their media partners. And when it comes to ecosystem partnerships, we are pretty proud that we are part of AppSpy's Enriched Engagement launch, which was announced at the back end of last year and is being developed together with us and others who want to drive transparency and make sure that that there's not just a view and a click, but actually different types of touch points are being recognized and are being made visible to advertisers, so that we can learn as an industry and make the appropriate budget allocations and give weights to different touch points and regain control as to what was the user intent, was a user intended click, and what wasn't. And we're doing this kind of engagement where we try and educate and engage with the market and make sure that And I think that's a big part of what you all can be doing to take control. And when it comes to new product development, it's about ensuring that we drive all of what we just said earlier, develop tools where there's control, give transparency, and also provide some measurement if it's not provided through other parties. And what you should be doing is these three things. So we'll go into them in a bit more detail. But when it comes to reviewing your channels, I think it is vital for you to ask your partners when you see something that is too good to be true. So if you see click-through rates that are north of 70%, it's okay to ask, hey, how do you go about firing clicks to the MMP? What do my creatives look like? And just having that dialogue and making sure that you are pushing your partners to give you that transparency and ensuring that there is at least, if not parity, you have understanding what is going on with the ads and your ad dollars. So that's number one. Having those tough conversations with your partners is the first and most important thing you can do. Secondly, incrementality tests is a very good way to circumvent all of what we just discussed, because fortunately, when it comes to incrementality tests, they are not impacted by what is going on the clicks arm race. Because what an incrementality test does, it basically shows you what would have happened if I wouldn't have ran this ad. And in order to do that, you don't need to be concerned with what's going on the creative side and the clicks and so on. And here, when it comes to incrementality tests, there are various ways of going about it. When it comes to retargeting, incrementality is nowadays quite widespread and fairly easy to do. But incrementality tests on the UA side is more challenging. But there are various partners out there, external providers. There's also the ability to build incrementality test plans in-house. But I think what's most important is that when you run incrementality tests, that you run them across your entire portfolio of partners. You use the same methodology. So whether you use a ghost bid approach or a geo split approach, whatever it is that you're doing, you use the same methodology across the board. And then lastly, we are here to help. So we're not just throwing this out there and sending you out in the wild. If you have questions about how to build these incrementality tests and what measurement approach and how does incrementality and your MMP measurement, how does that fit together? What should you in-house? What are the tools out there? We are here to have that discussion, and we have much smarter people than me working at Moloco who can really help you drive clarity and confidence in your measurement and then your marketing budget allocation. And this is just one more final reminder of what we said. And I've noticed we've run out of time, so I appreciate your patience. And I think the most important thing is challenge your partners, drive, be the curious person in your organization, raise awareness, make sure your CFO will probably be very interested in these kind of topics when it comes to effectively allocating your marketing dollars. Yeah, adopt a testing mentality and approach, and you will be rewarded with growth. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause. Thank you so much indeed.